My name is Ryan. My friend Kyle and I have taken our barroom conversations to the internet in the form of Michigan's most up-and-coming sports talk podcast. From baseball to Bigfoot, we cover it all. You're in for a treat because you have found the Turbo and 2K show. What's up, 2K crew? You know what time it is. It's that time every week, Tuesday morning, popping off in your ears. It's Turbo. It's 2Ks. You know the fucking deal. Let's get this shit rolling. Let's get your week rolling. Let's start on a positive note. Let's get this week rolling. And on that positivity note, I want to take a quick Turbo and 2K shout out to, which they're avid listeners, they've told me, the Toronto Raptors and the St. Louis Blues for bringing home their first title. So congratulations to you folks and the fans. I mean, even watching some of those videos outside of the Toronto arena where they're sitting there in their ponchos and, well, kudos to all the fans except for fucking Drake. Is that dude? Stop. Why when they win in Game 6, you have your own little pedestal that you're in, this little nook with the TV on, and all of a sudden you're popping Cristal? Shut the fuck up. Stop it. So kudos to those fan bases. You know, LeBron misses the playoffs, and now a whole other country wins the title.
Yeah, what's happening? What's going on in the NBA world?
What's the fucking NBA? That's why. There really is no explanation. It's the NBA. And, you know, with hockey's hockey, but there was a report that one of the, I want to say the dude that won the MVP, and this is, I don't even know what, Conn Smythe maybe? The Conn Smythe trophy, is that a thing?
Sure.
Yeah, the dude that won the MVP for them cracked open I think it was a $1,200 bottle of craft beer and drank it. So kudos to you, brother. To be honest with you, I'd probably have more fun drinking that than a bottle of Cristal.
True.
Because, you know, I've got a lot of Cristal here in the house, Cristal Light. You know, so I mean, I'm trying to watch my weight. I can't have, you know, the $1,000 bottle Cristal, so mine's Cristal Light. And we on another somber note, we do want to give a quick shout out and speedy recovery to Mr. One Jimmy Shannon, the Marcellus super fan. We love you, brother. Hang in there, and get rested up because the football sideline will not be the same without you, my friend. So speedy recovery, and hope to see you again. So with all of that, and let's do one more quick little plug. Don't forget about the two golf outings we talked about last week. I did put the information for the first one on the page, and I'm still waiting for Jerry and Susie to get me a flyer for the Gerald and Danny Memorial outing. And I'm pretty sure there's which we'll probably find out after Monday, if there's going to be the Fairway Frolic Challenge. Mm-hmm. So those are the three that we're pubbing right now. So I'll get information on the other two as soon as I get it, put it on Facebook, and I hope to see you guys out there because we are, for the Modder outing, running a Turbo and 2Ks foursome. So hopefully we're going to get not only some really, really cool audio, probably some video, and Christian's going to be there, so Lord knows you're probably going to see a dude without a shirt on.
Oh,
At least once.
We're definitely going to get our swings in. That day.
Hold on, you spelled beers wrong. Swings, beers. Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same. So we hope to see you guys out there for all three of these if you can make them. And I'm sure the causes that they're going for would thoroughly enjoy to see your smiling faces out there as well. But with that being said, fuck, the NBA season's done, 2Ks.
It's
Thank
over.
God.
It's over.
Thank God. We've only had this podcast for almost 5 months, and we've been talking about the NBA playoffs for
the entire time.
4.5 of that. So, you know what? My first prediction in the Turbo and 2Ks history has come true. I picked the Raptors in 6. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I was hoping they'd do it in 5. Just because half of me, you know, it's that, maybe you could call it Steph magic, Steve Kerr magic, Warrior magic. If they didn't get it in Game 5, I had this in the back of my head going, oh, fuck. The Warriors are going to win this. In 7, on Toronto's floor, banged up as they were. Granted, I was thinking that before Clay tore his ACL. Yeah. But even then, even without Clay, they had every opportunity to win game 6.
Yeah, for me, if Durant comes back like he did in Game 5, and if the Warriors would have won that night like they did, but Durant would have been healthy and Durant would have been back for Game 6 and 7, I think it's probably a different outcome. There's probably going to at least be that Game 7 situation. Right. I think for me, watching that game after seeing Durant go down, I was kind of like, this is over. What happened with Klay Thompson in Game 6? It's awful. But I kind of figured that the season was over for the Warriors after Durant went down in Game 5.
Well, that, and, they pulled the Chris Webber. So, I mean, that was... and not only one player, there was 3 of them doing it. It's like, holy shit, boys. Come on.
Yeah.
And what was really funny is listening to some of the NBA analysts going, well, that wasn't that bad of a play. Because it was a 2-point game at that point. And... They'd get one free throw. The Raptors would get one free throw, but they get possession of the ball.
Yeah.
So if they get a quick stop, you're down by 3 at the most, and then you still have time on the clock. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no.
Shut up.
And that's not what anybody was thinking. I mean, when that situation comes up, you're in panic mode. The first thing you can think of is let's call a timeout so we can get something going.
Right.
I mean, in all honesty, it didn't hurt them any. No. I mean, it was a scuffle for the ball at almost a half-court line with 0.8 seconds to go when it happened. I mean, yeah, it did nothing. The game was over. The game was over at that point. The only thing it did was...
prolong it.
Yes,
make exactly. the last like 3 possessions take 25 fucking minutes so I can't go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yep. Because each team's going to get their timeouts in and all that. The Warriors, because the Raptors don't have it, or the Raptors, because the Warriors don't have any left.
Yeah, and so like I said, congratulations, Toronto Raptors, you guys. And I'm going to go out and say it, and it was one of the things we're going to talk about is you guys earned it.
Absolutely.
There's so many analysts and people saying, oh, there should be an asterisk because their top 2 players were out. Bullshit. You beat who was in front of you. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. No one gave Golden State shit for when LeBron and the Cavs were without Kevin Love and Kyrie. Mm-hmm. Should there be an asterisk next to their win? Mm-mm. No. And it's the same thing. I mean, granted, if you take the 2 players that are out for Golden State as it compared to the 2 players out for Cleveland, I think most of us would take Clay and KD over Kyrie and Kevin Love.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, it's like I said, they beat the team that was in front of them.
Yeah, you can't ever put an asterisk next to a championship win. Like, that team has been one of the best teams in the NBA the entire season.
Yep.
They've proved that. A lot of people, before the playoffs even started, were picking the Bucks, including myself. We're picking the Bucks to win the whole thing. Well, they took out the Bucks, and the Bucks were fully healthy in that series, and they took them out.
Their defense, their defense won that series. Their defense won, ultimately won the title.
People were talking about before during the playoffs, the freak, being the next LeBron. He was taking over the NBA. Well, the Raptors put silent at that real fast, and then everybody started talking about, is Kawhi the best player in the NBA? So it's. No, they went out and they earned this. Is it unfortunate? I'm not a huge NBA fan. I'm not a huge NBA lover, but being a sports fan in general, yeah, it sucks to watch a championship series and have 2 of the best players on a team, maybe 2 of the top
10,
10, 15 players in the NBA out for the getting hurt. But Klay Thompson was there all the way until the last stretch of Game 6. Yep. Unfortunately, Kevin Durant wasn't even there at all in the finals.
And I brought this up to a lot of folks too. It's like, it'd be different if Golden State was up by 12, 15 points when Klay went down. Mm-hmm. That game was going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
I think the biggest lead I saw was maybe 6 or 7 the whole game.
The only thing that could be said about it is out of all the guys on the Warriors, Klay was probably having the best night. Mm-hmm. He was their go-to guy that night.
The last 2 games.
But, that's the thing with the Warriors is it was somebody different all the time. You could count on with the Raptors, you know it's going to be Kawhi. Kawhi's going to be your guy. With exception of Game 6, Kyle Lowry stepped up big time
Out of
in that
nowhere.
game. Yes. But for the most part, it was Kawhi, carrying them through the playoffs. With the Warriors, it was different. It wasn't going to be Steph, wasn't going to be Clay. You didn't know who it was going to be, and that's what's made their dynasty that they have going on so powerful. Is
any given night there's
it could,
like any one of their starting 5 could pop off for 30 and 10.
It can be one guy popping off for putting up big numbers, or it can be 3-4 different guys, both scoring over 20 points, and so. It's unfortunate that it came to that, but I'm not taking anything away from what the Raptors did. They won an NBA title. They deserve it. They deserve the parade. They deserve everything.
Except for Drake.
I'm not taking anything away from them.
No, absolutely. And people that say that you should, I just don't see it.
No,
I don't see it. And now granted, when you're in, I don't care what level of competition you're in. If you want your best to beat their best, and obviously the other team wasn't at their best, but you know what? That's just the way it happened.
Yeah,
that's just the way it happened. So
and you take those guys off the floor, but the Warriors, even after Clay's gone and Durant's gone, they still have Steph Curry, they still have DeMarcus Cousins, they still have Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about every team in the NBA would want those guys on their team.
Yeah, and so, even without Clay, it was. Still, like the Golden State had many chances to, and like we've been saying this whole series, to flip the switch. Steph go on that 10-11 point run that he seems to be, that's his thing.
Yeah,
they couldn't get it. They could not get it together. So it was always a close game.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as like a fandom watching it, it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
But there had to have been like so many other NBA teams that were sitting there watching that and being like, people are bitching because they don't have Durant and they don't have Klay Thompson. Like, there's so like the Pistons are probably like, damn, I would take Steph Curry and DeMarcus on my team and Draymond. I'll take Draymond on my team also any day. But we got to deal with our fucking misfits that we have, and people are bitching because the Warriors don't have Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. Well, they still got Steph Curry, they still got Draymond. I'm like, no, I mean you can't take anything away from it. I mean, the Raptors, outside of Kawhi, what big names do they have?
None.
None. Are they very deep? They don't lose a lot when they make their subs, like a lot of other teams in the NBA when they sub out. They're losing a lot. Yeah. The Raptors don't. They're so deep. But outside of Kawhi, they don't have anybody. They don't.
No, and I'm glad that the series is over. So we can stop talking about it. And every time Lowry's name came up, the only thing I could think of was Bad Boys and Mike Lowry.
See, I think of like the seasoning, for my burgers, Lowry's.
Mike Lowry. So one of the things that I'm not sure I put it on the agenda is, and it's going to come. It's going to a roundabout way take us to the next point. Is that are we going to see a very different version of Golden State next year?
See, I'm back and forth on this. Part of me thinks that now because of these injuries, that maybe Durant might stick it out and stay in Golden State. He's got the player option. He can stay for the next year and then maybe test the waters the year after, or he can make a big splash this year, because I think there's going to be multiple teams obviously that are going to throw a max deal at him, because it's not every day that you get an opportunity to throw a max deal at Kevin Durant and maybe bring him in,
or a player like him.
Now he's not going to play a game next season, but it doesn't matter. You still have Kevin Durant coming back the following season, and you don't come across players of that caliber very often. So when you have the chance to go and get him, you go get him. Now, that being said, with this injury and everything happening, it might be best for him just to stay put there. He's gonna test the waters, and I think a lot of people were kind of before the injury happened. Obviously not the calf injury. I'm talking about the Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Before the major injury, I think a lot of people were counting on him leaving.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 90% of the NBA thought he was gone.
Yes, but I think the injury only. I think it brings a lot more into it to see. We'll see what happens. I'm back and forth on it. I really don't know. I think Clay, for talking about Clay though, I think he was going to stay regardless. So I didn't see him leaving. I mean, he has such a good thing where he's at, playing around that team. I mean, Klay Thompson is a great player. He's a great player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him when I say this. I just don't see him going to another team and putting up the numbers that he puts up with the Warriors. No. Their system and what they have going has created him. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a great player. But I don't see him going anywhere else. The only team I could see him going to and putting up big numbers is probably the Lakers, and that's because he's got LeBron.
Yes,
and LeBron's going to find him. You know, because LeBron's going to carry every double team, sometimes triple teams. But I really didn't. In all reality, I really didn't see him leaving. So I don't think anything changes there. For me, it's with the injury. It's mostly just what Durant does. That one got me pretty intrigued.
And I think we can both agree that I think Boogie Cousins is done there.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
He signed his 1 year deal.
Yep.
And I think.
I mean, you got him. It was a great move for the Warriors. Snagging him. You snagged him for cheap because he's coming off an Achilles injury. Mm-hmm. But he's gonna. Whoever he goes to next, they're gonna have to pay him. Do I think it's going to be a max deal? No, but I think it's going to be right there. It's going to be yes, it's going to be. And the Warriors, if the Warriors are going to lock up Durant and the Warriors are going to lock up Klay Thompson and with Steph Curry also, who they already have locked up, they're not going to be able to do it with DeMarcus.
No.
So.
And to me, you know, even though I think it was, you know, getting back to your point where it was a very inexpensive experiment, you know, and did it work? Yeah. Yeah, but is it? I really don't think that's that type of system they want to run. Mm-hmm. You know, if you look back, you know, in their record-setting season, I think Draymond played 5, pretty much the vast majority of the whole season. So that's smaller, faster. Granted, do they get out rebounded? Probably, but you know what? It's when you're spreading the floor like they do. And the pace for a big man has got to be brutal. Mm-hmm. It's got to be brutal. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of like Chip Kelly's offense in college. You know, that Oregon style. Mm-hmm. It's got to be in basketball terms. It's got to be something very similar to that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of players. I mean, because there's not like the, you know, they were talking about how many miles Klay Thompson ran this whole offseason. It was like, I don't know, like 200 or some shit. It was almost 10 marathons he ran just in the postseason. Mm-hmm. And that you know, that's a style of play going back to like Reggie Miller, Rip Hamilton, where they never stopped moving. That's not what most NBA players do today.
No.
There's too much ISO. Yep. And if they do run a play, it's that high pick and roll, and the other 3 dudes are just standing around. So
it's just not for what Golden State's doing there. And as far as, you know, your best player is, well, Durant's their best player, but then you have Steph Curry and what he can do as a point guard, and Klay Thompson being able to shoot. The play style of, they don't need the offense that DeMarcus Cousins brings offensively, because he's a as far as centers go and what his skill set offensively is off the charts. He might be one of the best centers in the game, or he is one of the best centers in the game offensively. What the Warriors need out of their 5, they need somebody that can guard the rim. They can play defense. They can block shots. DeMarcus Cousins is just not going to do that on the defensive side of the floor. I mean, they were better back when they were really going through their prime. They had Andrew Bogut. Yeah. You know, is Bogut very good offensively?
Wasn't he on the team this year too?
Yes, he was. He was. You know, with 4 or 5 years added on to him, so he's not the same rim protector that he used to be. But that's what they need. They need somebody that's going to be able to block shots, guard the rim. Draymond's very, very good defensively, and what makes him so good defensively is he can guard every position on the floor. What he is not though is he's not going to block shots for you. No. He's not going to be able to protect the rim, and that's what you need out of it. That's what they're lacking this year.
I mean, he can guard a big guy. Even take Boogie Cousins. He can D up Boogie Cousins.
Yeah,
but he's also giving up probably 6 inches. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the block shots aren't going to be there. The defensive rebounding or offensive rebounding, whichever one you want to look at, just with him there. But they made it work.
Yeah, and what makes you a great shot blocker is you're not you're not always blocking the guy that you're necessarily guarding.
Mhm.
You're blocking shots, from your help side, or you're coming from the other side of the floor and you're blocking a shot, from a guard driving to the basket.
Mhm.
DeMarcus is not that guy. He's not the guy that's going to, come to the other side of the floor and block a shot from a
Right.
guard driving through the lane.
And if Draymond does get blocked, that's the way he does it.
Yes. What the Warriors have going on, they're not lacking anything offensively with
No.
what they have,
No,
with,
not
their,
at all.
with the skill set with their guards. What they need is to have a true five that can defend, block shots, and all that. And DeMarcus it looks great on paper
Mhm.
when you throw that in there with what the offense that they already had.
Mhm.
It looked great on paper, but when you actually watched it play out, he wasn't as effective as I thought he was going to be.
No, and if you, which I don't have the stats up, nor have I looked at them, but I watched the series. Gasol outplayed both of them.
Mhm.
I mean, Gasol made especially Cousins look silly.
Mhm.
He way outplayed
Mhm.
Boogie Cousins. So, yeah, I think ultimately, yes, we are going to see a different version. Because obviously, even if they do sign Katie and Clay, they're not playing. So, if you're in kind of an on the bubble NBA fan, I think 2019, 2020, this upcoming season is going to be exciting because if Golden State's to get back, how do they do it? It probably is going to have to be one of Coach of the Year. It's got to be his crown jewel.
Yeah.
To get him back to this point with those, whether they leave in free agency or they stay, because obviously they're not playing. So you're probably going to see a lot of other teams get in the mix, get in the playoffs, and it's one of those things where when you're in the dance, all you have to do is get in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. To me, there's no way that the Warriors are going to get back there. I mean, you don't have Clay, you're not going to have Durant next year. Steph Curry is as great as he is.
He's injury prone too.
Yes, and they're not getting back. For me though, it's what happens this offseason. Teams are going to separate themselves this offseason, and I tell you, LeBron's not going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row.
No.
They're going to make a huge splash, whether it's bringing in Anthony Davis. I think there's a very good shot that they're going to land DeMarcus Cousins when it's all said and done. They're going to reach out to Kawhi. They're going to try to make something happen there. They're going to I would be shocked. I would be shocked if there's not two stars that join LeBron this offseason. I would be shocked if it doesn't happen.
Even if it's Kemba Walker.
Yes. And the other thing, look out for the other team in LA. Look out for the Clippers. The Clippers were right there, and with they had a lot of depth, but they didn't have any big time players.
No. You
don't think that they're not going to open up the book try to bring in Kawhi this offseason?
That's where he's rumored to say he wants to go. So clip show. I mean, like I said, it for someone that doesn't follow basketball very exclusively. I'm probably gonna watch more basketball games next season just to see what the fuck's going on.
Oh, I mean, look at what the Clippers did against the Warriors in the first round when the Warriors had Durant and Durant was healthy.
Yeah.
This is before even the calf strain.
Mm-hmm.
He was healthy. And the Clippers took them down to the wire. Now you add Kawhi to that team.
Oof.
You better look out.
I have a feeling they won't be an 8 seed with Kawhi.
No, absolutely not. So I mean, things and now with the Raptors winning the championship, does Kawhi stay put? Who knows?
Yeah, and
time's gonna tell.
There's even Oklahoma City. You look there, and Paul George was hurt. He had his shoulder surgery, so it's gonna be all around exciting. And I can't. It's been a while since I've said that about the NBA. So I think that's our NBA wrap up. Well, we will, we might even try to bring Christian in to give the draft recap.
Mm-hmm.
He's our senior NBA analyst, so might as well. That, and we can listen to him and Kyle rip on each other, which is always fun too. Well, on to the next. Are you good? Can we make the NBA bed? Are we done with it?
Well, until the draft. Now you're already talking about bringing Christian on, so I don't want to talk about basketball for at least. We got to take next week off.
Yeah.
I can't do it again.
I think I think you and I were talking beforehand where you and I are both, because you're an avid Tigers fan. I follow the Tigers because Fox Sports Detroit.
Yeah.
So we might we'll tickle your interest a little bit we might just do a very extensive just Tiger talk.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not talking about Tiger Woods.
You know what? The thing I was thinking about, I want to get like a poll or something going on our Facebook page, and I want people to reach out to us and tell us what they want us to talk about, and whatever gets the most hits and what
we can do
then
that.
That's what we'll talk about for a week. Something to get people. I want to see the
now that we're done with the fucking NBA.
Yes, yeah, and we're kind of in that lull where nothing's going on in the playoffs. The only like championship thing that's going on right now is the Women's World Cup. So
which fuck. There were some sandy vaginas, and I'm not talking about the women's team, but everyone, the sandy vaginas of the entire world saying, "Oh my God, you scored 12! Was it 12 or 13? Yeah, and get the fuck out of here. You know what?
Yeah.
A lot of these players have waited their entire fucking lives to score a goal. Celebrate.
Well, not only that, but when it comes to the World Cup, now. You play each team. All these teams are in a pool.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that you play everybody in the pool before it's kind of like a round robin situation. I don't know a lot, so you soccer fans call me out if I'm wrong. But I think it's like a round robin, and then they kind of seed you on how you finish out of your pool.
Yeah, you get points for it's kind of like hockey. You get so many points for a win, so many points for a tie, and then if there's tiebreakers.
Yes,
and the goal differential comes into play.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So
goal differential plays a factor in this. So obviously, if you throw 13 goals up there, that's going to probably play a huge factor if they were to lose one of their games in this. So
it's a good possibility because every team has their ups and downs.
Yes,
so
maybe Thailand's not very good. Whatever. All I know is you qualify to play in the World Cup. Yes. It's not like they just allow anybody in there. So you're talking about the best of the best that are playing in this tournament. And this United States women's team, I honestly watched probably 15 minutes or so of that game. And
I watch highlights.
That team is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
That team is awesome. I mean, you get so upset when you watch the United States men's team play. You're like, they're not going to win anything.
Right.
But watching those women play, they are awesome, and they fooled around, and scored 13 goals. If they were playing like against one of the better teams and playing playing with that caliber, yes, absolutely. I mean, they could have blew them away.
And it's not like this is a once a year tournament. It's every fucking 4 years.
Yes.
I mean, granted, I think this is something we didn't even plan for, so I don't know names or anything. One of the girls scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
Did she need to celebrate the third and fourth and fifth the way she did the first? Who knows? But you know what? If I'm on that worldwide stage and I'm doing that, you probably couldn't keep my shorts on.
No, absolutely not.
I'd be running around the whole damn field naked.
I mean, if I'm not a huge soccer fan. Got nothing against the sport.
I have a feeling if they scored 13 goals every game, you'd probably watch a little more. But like, I know I would.
All I know, if I was growing up and I was a huge soccer fan or a huge soccer player, you dream. This is stuff that you dream about, playing in a World Cup for soccer. You score 5 goals in the game, you act however the hell you want to act. I mean, that is something that you can talk about for the rest of your life. You scored 5 goals in a World Cup match. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a big deal.
And I was watching, watching or listening. I can't remember if I was at work or it was before work, but listening or watching Golic and Wingo, and Mike Golic kind of put it the best way. When it comes to something like that, take college football for instance. We always rip on the Alabamas of the world playing Abilene Christian or wherever the hell they play their first week. And yeah, it's like 77-0. Mm. Is it fun for the team that scores nothing? No, not at all. They shouldn't even have been on the field. They're outclassed. Mm. But when you're Alabama, you can't win that game 14-0.
No.
Because everyone is going to crucify you. Yep. Oh my God, take, I'm not trying to pick on old wounds, but Michigan App State. Mm-hmm. That was different because App State was a 2 or 3 time D2 defending champion. Mm-hmm. That was a badass team. But with that loss, I mean, that that pretty much that hurt him all year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But now, every time that somebody throws this at me, when Michigan losing to Appalachian State, it pisses me off.
I know.
It pisses me off. And especially when it's a Notre Dame fan. Let's not forget that Michigan came and beat Notre Dame that same year. So for everybody that's saying, "Oh, Michigan got beat by Appalachian State," that same fucking Michigan team wiped your asses too.
That Appalachian State team was a bad ass team.
They were good. I mean, Michigan had no business losing that game. No. Let's be realistic. But
it came down to a blocked field goal.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Exactly. And so but when every time I hear it, every time somebody brings it up on me, it's been most of the time when people bring it up, it's fucking Christian.
Of course.
I'm a goddamn Notre Dame fan. So my answer back is Michigan fucking beat you guys 2 weeks later. So
yeah.
Period.
But no, it's getting back to the World Cup thing. That's what Mike Holt brought up. He's like, you're on the same field. It was on the schedule. You getting back to our NBA talk. You play who's in front of you. And obviously, Thailand had no business being in the tournament. And it's with the girls, it's kind of different than the guys because there's more countries that have male soccer teams as opposed to female teams. And not taking anything away from what the U.S. women are doing, so doing fantastic. However, the United States allowed or promoted and had female teams 20 years before, 10 years before, 15 years before a lot of these other countries. Mm-hmm. So the women in the United States have been playing the game longer. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the same, international basketball. It's caught up to the United States. So
I mean, but
it'll happen.
The same thing. I mean, and that's kind of the knock on United States for men's soccer is it's not as big of a deal in the United States as what it is in other soccer. I'm talking about
a lot of our athletes are playing different sports.
We have we have NFL, we have the NBA. There's a lot of other interests that I'm trying to say this without offending soccer fans. I'm not, because that's not at all what I'm trying to do.
No.
But there's so many more ways to go in the United States. There's just so many different options that in other countries it's not really an option to go play in a professional football.
Let me break it down like this, and I think it'll run perfectly with you or what you're trying to get across, and it will not offend anyone. Your son. If he has the choice going out of, it's a senior year, he has, I'll play to your fandom, he has a he's going to, a football scholarship to be the quarterback at Michigan. He has a baseball scholarship to be, let's say, the shortstop for Michigan. Or he has a scholarship, was probably only a half scholarship, to play soccer at Michigan. And you sit down with him and you're like, all right, well, buddy, which one do you love the most? He says, well, Dad, I love soccer. And you're like, cool. I'll support, and I'm sure that this is exactly what you'll say. Son, I'll support you in whatever your decision you make. But let me run this by you real quick. Have you looked at how much each one of these professional players make? NFL quarterbacks, probably about $30 million a year, once they get their big deal. Major league shortstops, like Manny Machado. It's a lot of fucking money.
The only argument I have on baseball,
soccer, maybe $200,000 or $300,000, if that. I don't even know what soccer players make. Yeah. But I mean, when you enter into the other sports, it's the likelihood of actually getting to attain that salary is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of players, if it were me, I'm like, well, and the road to being a professional soccer player that's making in the United States, if you flip it to England or any of those, like the Premier League and shit like that, look at David Beckham. How much did he make before he came over here?
No.
Fucking bank. Ronaldo, I'm sure he's making, or was, or I don't. Is he the one going through like bankruptcy or some charges and shit for back taxes or whatever?
I don't follow anything.
Regardless, you can do it.
Oh yeah,
but not playing MLS soccer. No. No, and for the amount of work that you have to put in to get to that point, if you put that work into any other sport, I think your pocketbook's going to look a lot fatter. Your recognition, as far as any other sport, you're going to be more recognized in any other sports, and it has nothing. We're not talking bad about soccer at all. It's just the way it is, the reality of it. Now, if all three were very relatively equal, then I think you would, everything would kind of open up more, and you would get more of those athletes leaning that way. But that's just my kind of 2 cents. And I grew up playing soccer from the time I was 8 until I played indoor up at soccer zones. I was like 26 years old, so I love soccer.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever taken played on a college team, because I wasn't that good. But the amount of work you'd have to put in for very little payout at the end.
Yeah, it's just,
even if you were to make the national team.
Yeah, it's just not. It's just not the popular sport. Like
it's gaining popularity.
It is. But like when I remember coming up, going through middle school, and I played soccer all the way through. But when I got to junior high, and I wanted to play football. I mean, and I wasn't a very good football player. I'll be the first one to admit that. I was not known as being I was known for being a pretty good basketball player and being a good baseball player.
I think we talked about that last week.
I was not. Was I a horrible football player? No, but I wasn't a football player that were like, we gotta look out for Kaler next week because
watch out for 2-4.
Yeah, 2K's out there. We're gonna have to key on him. No, nobody was keying on me in any football game ever.
Your dad was probably recording the game and recorded everything but you.
Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't throwing out any big numbers on the football field, but it's just that's what I wanted. I didn't want to play soccer anymore. I was ready to move on to the football. And that's because that's what you see on TV in America all the time.
Ultimately that's what you and I our parents kind of grew up on.
Oh yeah.
And there was what. I won't mention any names, but there's quite a few of the guys I graduated with and played ball with, and I played soccer. They played baseball, or they played football. And they're like, "Come on, Turbs, you're a big guy. We really use you on the line." I'm like, playing offensive line is fucking boring for one. And I played 1 year when I was a kid, and it just wasn't my thing, And I played both offensive and defensive line, and was pretty good at it. Was it fun? No, not so much. Yeah. It wasn't my thing, but I tried. So at least I tried.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of the guys that we got soccer in the high school here in Marcellus. I think in '97 was my junior year. And the soccer players and the football players didn't really get along. A lot of the guys that I played baseball with also played football. Oh my God, when I have kids, they're never gonna play fucking soccer. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Fucking pussy sport. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure every one of them that have kids play soccer.
I mean, as far as touching on, there's a lot of good things, especially with young kids playing soccer. I'm one of those guys, and maybe people don't agree with me. I don't think that kids are necessarily ready for rocket football. I just don't think that their bodies are ready to take that contact on at that age.
Well, when you're looking at like 8 years old, let's put it that way. When it looks like they're gonna fall over because their helmet's so big.
Yeah,
maybe not a good idea.
I think for young kids that are just starting to kind of touch the surface playing sports, I think soccer is so good for them because of everything that it does for their footwork and all that.
Team building,
yes,
endurance,
yes, exactly.
And to be kind of honest, I mean, it's an easier. At least it was for me. There's a lot less things going on. There's a lot less things you have to focus on the soccer field as opposed to when you're playing football. Had I actually tried football when I was, in middle school or something like that, I probably would have had a lot more fun with it. But no, I tried it when I was 8, 9-year-old rocket football. It just wasn't my thing. No, it was not my thing.
And just testing out different sports in general. This is real quick funny story. When I was younger, maybe 3rd, 4th grade, starting to play basketball, I was pretty advanced for any normal fourth grader playing basketball, and I think
you had some good pedigree as far as sports goes from your dad.
Yes, and that's part of the story, you know, and I think Adam Zede, you know, being your age, I can remember being, you know, probably third grade, and he was a varsity basketball player, and I would play him one-on-one.
Tell me you beat him.
And I'm not saying I beat him. You know, obviously he's a senior in high school and I'm a fourth grader. But there was times where shit got serious for him and he thought, well, goddamn, I gotta start playing. I can't mess around anymore because this kid's gonna beat me.
I gotta flip that Steph Curry switch. Hold on.
And if we ran into him at the bar, I think he would have the same story. He beat me every time, but
I love
he had to play. He had to play for real every once in a while against me, and probably at a young age, basketball was my best sport. But I lost interest in basketball, and the reason why I lost interest in it is, you know, growing up in a small town, I've heard every single story there is about my dad. And everybody was always willing to tell me all these stories about, you should have seen your dad play. You should have seen your dad do this. Your dad do this.
I'm not my dad.
And I didn't want to be in those shadows my whole life. Did I play basketball all the time? Yeah, but I got burnt out with it by the time I got into my middle school days, and I kind of gained interest back into it when I got into high school. Right. But at that time, I still played, but I didn't really put any work into it. My dad was a mediocre baseball player. Nobody ever talked stories about baseball. So I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be in the shadows of what my dad had done. I wanted to go and do baseball and kind of make a name for myself in my own thing and not come up through, your dad did this. And that's not taking anything away from my dad.
No.
A lot of people always are, who's the best player you've ever seen at Marcellus? Who's the best player? You know, and I'd name off who I think.
Jake Ward.
And I watched him play, and that's who I think it is. But
and that pretty much goes for any sport. Jake didn't play football, but all the rest of them, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
if we had a ping pong team, he'd be state ranked ping pong.
But a lot of people that I talk to are, you know, the best player they've ever seen play basketball at Marcellus is my dad, and obviously I never got a chance to watch him play.
I didn't either.
I go off stories and from all that.
I mean, his scoring records and everything are well documented.
Oh, but absolutely. And
I'm pretty sure your dad was old enough too, where they probably didn't have a 3-point line.
Didn't have a 3-point line.
So,
and I mean, and he's
they probably had like the actual like peach baskets or whatever the hell they were, the apple baskets.
Yeah.
So,
and to this day, he has the scoring record. Now I think there's a kid that's in the school right now that's got a really good opportunity of beating it, but he's going to have an extra year than what my dad had, and he also has a 3-point line.
Right.
But you know, for me, it was just I wanted to get out. I didn't want to be in those shadows. I wanted to do my own thing and excel at a different sport. And
which, I mean, we touched on, was it last week or a couple weeks before? You know, all the Hall of Fame kids that are coming up in the major leagues, and even like the number, like the ESPN top 10 this morning. The first one was LeBron James Jr. hitting a game winner at a tournament down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you had pressure in Little Town Marcellus playing under your dad's name, God. I mean, you have to have and I don't know if I could have done it either. You know, if my dad was a badass baseball player, that I went to the same school. You know, even if let's say my dad got drafted. I mean, wow. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, your dad wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Your dad wouldn't have went 0 for 6 before he got a knock. Your dad wouldn't have done this.
And that's exactly what it was. And you know my dad, and I know a lot of people that are probably listening to this know him also. He's probably about the most humble person that I've ever met in my entire life.
Until it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah.
Then he gets fucking ruthless.
He will never talk about himself or anything like that. And that's just the type of person he is, and that's why he's the greatest person in this world. But
well, we can kind of expand this conversation to like Dan Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, I don't know how many of his track records still, not even Marcellus records, but state records are still there. But one of the first times I met Dan was Coach DeCou. When we would always bring up Dan Stanley, because that, for those of you outside of Marcellus, Dave DeCou was was and is the track coach, and Dan graduated in like 1904, but but no, like in the, I want to say mid 80s, early 80s, and Dan was probably one of the fastest dudes I think around at that time, and Coach DeCoux had tape, so we'd get him all fired up. He'd go get this is back when you had to go walk down to the library, get the cart with the VHS and the TV on it, and bring it in the classroom. And we would watch tapes of Dan Stanley running, and it was impressive. I mean, the man was, 10 feet. Like the nearest person was 10 foot behind him. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm obviously didn't run tracks. I don't know how much time that is, but you can just tell by the video.
Yeah.
And when I first met Dan, I'm like, the Dan Stanley? He goes, will you never call me that again? He's like, there's so many people. He's like, thanks, Coach DeCoux. But it pubbed me up to be this person that I'm just fucking Dan Stanley. I like to drink beer and I like to hang out, and that's what I do. So, yeah, and Dan's another one that's, when it comes to stuff like that, is very, very humble. And so is your dad. Mm-hmm. I've never, when I moved back into town, you guys had this crew, you, your dad, Joe Park, Robert, all that crew that hung out all the time. Mm-hmm. And you guys welcomed me with open arms. Mm-hmm. But so I didn't like grow up around, that crew. So, and they've never, well, Joe and I have kind of went, I'm not going to say toe to toe because Jesus Christ, he'd kill me. But we'd have our differences, and we'd have a beer and talk about it. We'd figure it out. But no, it's you're very right, and yes, I could see how. Yeah, if I was you, I probably wouldn't want any part of that, constant comparison. So obviously, no judgment from this guy over here. Well, we're actually I think we got about 15 minutes to talk about golf.
And we're supposed to talk about fantasy football today too.
Yeah, well, we've been trying to talk fantasy football the last 3 fucking weeks. But we keep going off on these tangents. So, as you know, U.S. Open, it's popping off out there at Pebble Beach. And you might be wondering, well, where's the Turbo and 2K senior golf analyst? Well, you know what? We need him on the show for 4 times a whole year. He's made 1 out of 3, so just kidding, Jake. We love you. We know you had a family get-together, so no big deal. But the show's always better talking about golf when you're on it, brother. So keep that in mind too. Hopefully we can get you for the last one's a British.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yep.
So hopefully we can get him on for that. And I tell you what, this Pebble Beach, I think I could watch people play golf at Pebble Beach every day.
Oh, it's such a beautiful course.
Everyone raves about how beautiful the Masters is, and it is. Augusta's beautiful, but on the ocean, bro, are you kidding me? And you and I were talking before we hit record, and I said, well, it'd be amazing to play there because I've done it many times on Xbox.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just, I wish maybe, out of all the majors, the Masters is the only one where it's played in the same place every year. I wish there was at least one more, major tournament that was played at the same course every year.
Yeah, like this.
And why not play it at this? And maybe not necessarily the U.S. Open be played here, because the U.S. Open is always known for being kind of the grind out, tournament where you might win the tournament finishing 1-2 under.
Because you got the thick rough, and the whatever the weeds are called. I forget what they're called, but traditionally, like what is it? Bethpage Black or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that traditionally that's one that they usually go to. That once you get the ball off the fairway, you're trying to hit out of a rough that comes up to your fucking knee.
And then when you are in the fairway, it's like concrete and it rolls everywhere, and it's hard to stay on the fairway because it's just going to roll off into the rough, and bunkers everywhere,
and the greens, impossible.
Yeah,
but no, I'm right there with you. If they added a 5th one, play it here every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe once, maybe when like they name it after one of the greats that's passed, whatever Open.
Mm-hmm.
PGA, that's, if you guys do that, I want some some kickback for the idea. Thank you. But no, kind of give you a recap on Thursday when it popped off. Justin Rose, what did he shoot at 66? 65.
65, yep.
He tied Tiger for the lowest round at Pebble Beach, only to be followed up by Gary Woodland.
Yeah,
the next day
yesterday.
shot at 65 as well. So and we've got it on the TV behind Mr. 2K's right now, and Mr. Rose is kind of struggling. Woodland is 10 under, Rose 8 under. Koepka's made a push. He's 7 under.
Mm-hmm.
I think started out the day he's 4 under.
4 under, 3 under for the day.
Rory's right there at 5 under. So, and you and I were talking. He's your pick to win it.
Well, he going into the day, he was my pick to win it. But I see, out of all the guys that kind of got off in that late start, all the leaders, he's kind of the only one that's not really moving anywhere. He's staying put. He's even for the day.
It's been kind of a slow moving day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and aside from the two gentlemen we just mentioned that hit 65s, everything else has been kind of 2 and 3 under,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of normal. I think a lot of people would consider 2 and 3 under kind of high scoring for this course. So just to kind of put it in perspective, when you hit a 65, that's pretty legit.
Yeah,
that's pretty legit. And I do want to give a shout out to Nike for giving Mr. Koepka another hat, because the ones he wore last month were fucking ridiculous. This one I could actually see buying.
You know, I said it 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. I liked the hat, and you know what? I got to work on Monday, and I even forgot to mention this, and I feel awful for forgetting on this, but I actually got a message on Facebook on Monday morning from Darcy Walden, and she was saying, you know, she actually sent me a link on where to buy the hat, and I said, you know, I don't think the hat's that bad, and she said, I agree. So I have one other person on my team
right,
that says the hat's nice.
I'm pretty sure if you asked Brooks Koepka if he liked the hat, he'd probably say I like the paycheck. But this hat's a little bit more legit.
Well, after winning, I would have wore the damn hat again. Like I'd keep on wearing it until I lose.
Yeah, I mean that's. And now, one question, and since you're the stand-in, we're going to move you up from junior golf analyst to the stand-in senior golf analyst. Why are we getting away from like fitted hats to the snapbacks? I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I'm not a snapback fan.
Not a huge fan either. For me, I mean, some people can pull it off. I think with hats, there's just certain hats that certain people can pull off. I have a real long skinny head, so for me, you know,
I've got a real fat head.
Yeah, I can't pull it off.
So whenever I wear a snapback, I'm rocking like the last snap, if not 2 maybe. But usually like the last 1 or 2 is where I'm rolling. That was fucking ridiculous. I would much rather fill that in. Give me a fitted hat. Give me a flex fit.
I'm with you.
Softball. Give me a 404.
Yes.
I'm golden.
Yep.
Golden.
I agree with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I think we all can agree. Tiger Woods is the best. He has it on lock. He's the best dressed golfer.
Him and Rory. I'll put Rory in there.
Yeah, he's up there, but you're not ever going to see Tiger with a snapback.
No.
You know, he's.
However, Friday, could you get the man a blue? If you guys didn't watch his round Friday, he had kind of grayish blue pants, a blue, almost a navy blue kind of fleece thing going on, and a royal blue hat. Come on now. Come on. At least get him a gray hat, a black hat, a white hat, anything but royal blue. And that's all of his shit still from Nike. Is it not? Is Nike still doing the clothes? They're not doing the clubs and shit like that.
He's not doing the clubs, but all of his. He's got his own. Tiger Woods brand, but it's all through Nike.
Kind of way that Jordan does.
Yep.
it. Yep. But come on, who let that man walk out of that fucking clubhouse like that? Stop. Yeah, we're here judging dudes in clothes. No homo. No homo. But yeah, so Friday, Rose kind of, I think he putzed around and just kept his lead and until the second group kind of went out.
Yeah.
And Gary Woodland popped off that 65 and kind of vaulted ahead, but everyone else kind of stayed put.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, he was the only like mover and shaker.
Mm-hmm.
And even Tiger, I think he finished today even.
Yeah, and he's even for the tournament now. He just hasn't been able to get it going.
His putter, man.
Can't get it with the putter.
When I was watching Friday, or when I was working Friday, if I saw one, there was 6 putts that just leaked out to the right.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to get it going with the putter.
Speed, perfect.
Absolutely.
Tempo, perfect.
And
if he just wherever he's aiming at a half cup left, he'd be sitting at 8-9 under right now. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yep, and the same thing with Tiger. It's like a broken record. It's all the time with Tiger. His biggest struggle, and this is throughout his entire career, he just can't get off the tee box. And he's playing, with a lot of times he's hitting iron off the tee, or he's hitting his 3-wood off the tee, and you're giving up. He's giving up a lot of yardage there. To where a lot of these other guys that can hit the ball 50 yards further with their driver and still find the fairway. They have the advantage on him on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if he could hit driver and find a fairway, and you're making those approach shots, from 50 yards closer, you're gonna put him closer on the green, and you're gonna have closer putts, to make. So it all just
even like a lot of the putts I watched on Friday were within 15 feet. So it's not like he's leaving them 20, 30, 40 feet. Yep. It's just and it like I said, it had to be at least he was consistent. If it is a probably annoying as fuck as that was, as frustrating as fuck, at least it was the same thing every time. Mm-hmm. To me, that's an easy fix. If you're missing sporadically everywhere and you don't even know where to start, that's kind of where Dustin Johnson's at right now. Talking about a guy that can, he's fairway to green, but 2 and 3 putt and everything.
Yep.
So
that's been the knock on him his entire career. Mm-hmm. He can't putt. And there's a lot of other golfers on the tour that you can talk the same way.
Yeah, what's the old adage? Drive for show, putt for dough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why if you get a Mr. Turbo in a scramble, I'll drain a couple 20-footers. Don't expect a whole lot much else from me, but those 20-footers will be there to save par or birdie when you need it. Don't expect it. You're probably holy shit, but no, that's so. Ultimately, even today, there really wasn't Koepka's probably the one that's moved the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And he is.
Well, and Matt Kuchar as well.
Yep.
Matt Kuchar's making a charge. He's at 6 under. So
he's just been consistent. 269s for the week and going into today. He's right there, and he's one of those guys that he can. There's a very good has a very good chance of making a run tomorrow and winning this tournament.
Yeah. Even it's not like the last tournament where going into Sunday
you already knew who was going to win.
Yes. Yeah. However, Koepka
there was a little bit of excitement that day. Yes.
Koepka and DJ kind of made that a whole lot more exciting than what it needed to be. But I think this one's going to come down to who can hit greens and who can drain putts. Mm-hmm. And there's probably 10 dudes on this leaderboard that any one of them can win it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. There are some big names there to look out for. I know Gary Woodland's in the lead right now. I would be shocked if he's the one that ends up winning it tomorrow. Justin Rose, he's just Mr. Consistent there. Would not shock me one bit if he's the one that wins this. You also got Koepka there.
Why wouldn't he win? He's winning everything.
There's nobody on the tour right now that's better than Koepka right now.
Not as hot. No.
Yes, he's the best golfer on the tour. And then after that, you got Kuchar up there. You got McIlroy right there. You got Henrik Stenson. Look out for him. So, there's some big names there.
And you got probably one of the coolest names in golf to actually read is Louis Oosthuizen. Mm-hmm. He's right there at 8th.
Yep.
4 under. So, Louis, bring it on, brothers. I'd love to say your name. Louis Oosthuizen. And so, I'm even going to extend it. There's probably 20 golfers right now that could make a run tomorrow and win this.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on the conditions, who knows what's going to happen to the top 2, 3, or 4. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And looking at the camera right now, it looks like they're getting a little rain, so who knows what's going to happen. Soften all that shit up. You never know. That 65 might not last too long tomorrow, so who knows. But yeah, that's it's kind of an odd show. We kind of went a lot of different places.
Well, it's weird when the two of us sit and talk about NBA and golf. Like,
yeah.
When have we ever done that before in our...
And dudes apparel.
Yeah. We've never had these conversations. I don't think I've ever sat down really and talked to you about golf ever.
No.
Until we started the show.
Yeah.
And probably NBA either.
No.
Maybe bits and pieces, but not like broke down a playoff series and stuff like we have.
But you know what? We break it all the way down. I mean, we give you the insight that most other folks don't.
No.
So
we got shit that's
why you come to us for your NBA knowledge. And if you do, I'm sorry, because there's a lot better shit out there than what we're giving you. We're just giving you the Cliff Notes version. But yeah, we're running up against that hour. We're gonna have to table next week. We're gonna have to make time to do the fantasy football.
We might just need to start with it because the way we ramble.
Yes, which we might just take up the whole fucking show doing it.
We've had it on the bottom of our list for I think going on a month now.
Well, it's one of those things where I want to talk about it because there's a lot of people that obviously showed interest in it.
Absolutely.
I want to get at least one league, if not two, rolling. With the Turbo and 2K's crew. I think that'll kind of bring us together a lot more.
There's probably nothing in all of sports that I like to talk about more than fantasy football. So I want to have this conversation.
And
absolutely.
Whoever ends up with Christian in your league, you're welcome because it's easy money.
Yeah. Oh.
So, but no, I want to. There's a lot of questions brought up about it, like the scoring. When do we want to do it? So, within this next week, me, you, some of the dudes that we know that are serious about it, we'll have to sit down and figure out a draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Pub the draft day, set a price, have people so they can pay to get in. This isn't a freebie.
No.
This isn't a freebie. Fantasy football is a lot different than the tournament challenge.
Yeah.
There's some money changing hands here. So we'll get you the PayPal link so everyone can get paid. And then what I'd really like to do is, with the Drop Anchor League, we draw for league and draft position right before we start drafting. I'd really like for folks to know, A, whose league they're going to be in, and B, their draft position at least a couple weeks beforehand. Mm-hmm. So that way you can kind of plan, because I think this year there really is, you could go probably 6 different ways with the number one pick, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
And this is one of those years where I honestly think I think I would rather be towards the back end of the draft and double up, with the 9th pick and the 11th pick or 12th pick.
I would rather be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or because we're going to do 10-team league, or 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. I hate being in the middle.
So do I.
Because it seems like for fucking ever you're not drafting.
I just like the idea of being able to, when it comes around to you have 2 picks. Maybe there might be a pick in between them or something.
Yeah, like number 9.
Yes, but I like that idea of having...
You can kind of plan it better that way.
Yes, because when it comes around to you have an idea of about 3-4 different players, that you want to pick. So I like that idea instead of being in the middle of the pack where you're waiting between every single pick that you have.
Yes, and for me, it's a lot more stressful when I do that. So we will do that next week, and then we'll... you know what? Let's just put it out there so the 2K crew can actually plan for this. We'll do the fantasy football, and then we'll do our Detroit Tiger breakdown next week. So, no secrets. You guys can plan on it. If you don't give a fuck about fantasy football or the Tigers, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. But those are 2 things that both 2Ks and I are very, very passionate about. So, you're going to get probably some really, really good conversations going to come out of it. So, with that being said, I'm all out of stuff. How about you?
I'm out.
All right, and we're just over that hour mark, so it's the perfect time. And 2K crew, thank you for all your support. Keep pubbing the Facebook group. Keep posting wild and crazy shit. We love it. And just keep in contact. We'll keep you guys updated with everything that we have going. So, with that being said, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.